Graduation is a time to remember and a time to dream, a time to look back and a time to reach forward, a time for songs of laughter and a time for tears of joy, a time for letting go and a time for discovering hopes and dreams that are yet unborn. A time to say goodbye to yesterday and a time to greet tomorrow with courage. A time for loving hearts together and a time to celebrate all that you are and all that you may become. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first virtual graduation ceremony of Tominjao Elementary School. To salute to our country and to pay tribute, honor, and glory to our Almighty God, our Philippine National Anthem and Subuhin, and to be followed by a prayer.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, ay mas nagsilanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y bumay. Lupang binirang, kuyan ka ng magiting, sa manluluping, di ka masisigil, sa naganap tutok sa simoy at sa langit kong bagaw, ay hinagam tula, kawin sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng katawan ko'y tagumpay na nagtitigil, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magtitigil. Lumanang araw ng warhabit pagsingka, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya ng pagkay pag-aakit, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Subuharang kapupunan sa habagatan, kinapusurang lalawigan sa Kabisayan. Sa kaalam, kanunahan, sa among bugmaong dumog kanunay halaran. Subuko ng binunyagan sa Kristohanong tinuhuan, di panalipdan kanunay ni Senyor Santo Niño. Makasaysayanon, maapit-apikon, madanihon ng angay kagayon nga ipasigar ko. Subok pinangga sa klima o panahon, kalinaw kauswagan, palungtaron, palambon, bisan asa mudangat sa among pagpaling kamot. Ikaw amo kanunay nga handumon. Ikaw amo kanunay nga handumon. Puso
And now, ladies and gentlemen, with high honors, Althea Bianca D. Buntugay for her welcome address.
Our distinguished guests, our Public Schools District Supervisor, Dr. Eva A. Casinillo, Tominjao Elementary School Principal, Mrs. Adilna D. Mata, Tominjao Barangay Officials, headed by Honorable Isidro T. Rodrigo, Tominjao Elementary School Faculty and Staff, Board of Directors, our dear parents, fellow graduates, friends, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant afternoon and welcome to the first virtual graduation of Tominjao Elementary School. The most significant event in a pupil's life is no other than graduation. And since it is the end of this stage in our elementary days, it brings a mixture of joy and pain. Joy for reaching our goals and pain for saying goodbye to the people who became a part of our lives. My fellow graduates, we are about to reach high school. We must enjoy the next 4 years of our lives in order for us to reach our goals of graduating high school and finally college. Our alma mater, Tominjao Elementary School, taught us the values that we need in order for us to face our future without fear. We would like to thank those who worked hard in organizing this well-prepared event. Our virtual graduation is even more memorable because you have spent time and effort to ensure that we will have a meaningful ceremony. Thank you, dear teachers, for the knowledge you have given and all those lessons you have shared with us. Thank you, dear parents, for working hard to give us a good education. We are happy that you are here with us today because this is a milestone for us. And most of all, thank you, God, for all the blessings. And so, my dear parents, honored guests, on behalf of the graduating class, it is my pleasure to welcome you to witness this year's virtual graduation ceremony. Very soon, we will receive the fruits of our labors, our awards and diplomas, in a different way. Though we can't experience the actual marching on stage one by one with our dear parents, but we are still lucky because ours would be memorable than what we have imagined. Since we can freely march with everybody as our names and faces will be flashed on screens. Classmates, fellow graduates, I wish you all good luck for the coming years in our lives. May these years to come be kind to all of us, and may God and His wisdom bless us with success. Thank you very much. Once again, welcome and good afternoon.
This time, the main highlight of today's affair is about to unfold in our midst. To do the honors of presenting this year's candidates for graduation, our school principal, Mrs. Adelna D. Mata, to be followed right away by the acceptance and confirmation of the graduates and message by our Public Schools District Supervisor, Dr. Eva A. Casinillo.
Dr. Marilyn S. Sandales, Schools Division Superintendent of Cebu Province Division, represented by Dr. Eva E. Casanelio, the Public Schools District Supervisor of the Anbantayan 2 District, in my capacity as the school head of Tominjao Elementary School, I have the honor to present to you these 103 candidates for graduation of the school year 2019-2020. 51 of whom are males and 52 are females. I hereby certify that they have satisfactorily completed and fulfilled the basic requirements for elementary education curriculum as prescribed by the Department of Education under the K-12 Basic Education Curriculum. We are now awaiting for your confirmation as graduates with all the rights, honors, and privileges thereunto appertaining.
By virtue of the authority delegated to me by the school's division superintendent, Dr. Marilyn S. Andales, based on the facts and figures presented to me by your principal, Mrs. Adelna D. Mata, and on the assurance that you have satisfactorily completed the basic requirements for elementary education curriculum as prescribed by the Department of Education. I do hereby approve and confirm your elementary graduation on this 29th day of July 2020 with all the rights, honors, and privileges thereunto appertaining. Henceforth, you are now eligible for transfer and admission to any secondary school in the Republic of the Philippines. Congratulations and Godspeed! My warmest greetings to the school head, faculty members, advisors, parents, and guardians of the graduates of the school year 2019-2020 with the theme, Sulong Edukalidad, Pagtataguyod sa Kinabukasan ng Bayan. Dear graduates, congratulations on this special moment of your life when you reap the long-awaited fruits of your hard work and perseverance. Through the years, you've been diligent in studying your lesson with the guidance of your dedicated and committed teachers. This is not the end, but the beginning of another journey as you continue preparing yourselves for a more challenging life ahead. With this journey, don't forget the lessons you learned and the values you acquired. Make your parents, community, and country proud of you and your achievement. Continue living up to become citizens of good character and intellectually competent enough to be one of the country's assets that will lead to global competitiveness. Congratulations and good luck to your next endeavor.
Dear graduates, the moment you have been waiting for has finally come. The fruit of hard and discipline will finally be reaped. You will now be receiving your prized diploma, a symbol of accomplishment. At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, let's have the distribution of certificates of graduation. To start, let's have the Grade 6 Section Lirio Advisor, Mr. Eddie De Los Santos.
Candidates for graduation, Grade 6 Lario, Boys, Alahid John Vincent R. Parent, Mrs. Maricel Alahid. Arsenal John Ray L. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ricardo Arsenal. Arojado AGR. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Arojado. Aspera John Joel P. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Joel Aspera. Bayo John Kenneth T. Parent, Mrs. Catherine Tero. Bugtong Jake Ayan R. Parent, Mrs. Queenie Rafon. Cabanis James Nathaniel C. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jennifer Cabanis. Kanyadura Gabriel R. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Nestor Kanyadura. Kunhi Prince Lawrence A. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ermi Kunhi. De La Fuente Mark Minio G. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Romeo De La Fuente. De Los Santos Joselito Jr. R. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Joselito De Los Santos. Dinapo Enrico Clyde V. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Emmanuel Dinapo. Estrera Jimboy Jr. T. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Estrera. Garbo Juanito A. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Achilles Garbo. Pipito Mark Lowe T. Parent, Mrs. Charlina Pipito. Rosel Allen James R. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Raul Rosel. Rosel James Ray L. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jared Rosel. Tolid Jumar C. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jose Tolid. Grade 6 Playo Girls. Alolod Igami M. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Sami Alolod. Buayaban Alexa Gale R. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Timoteo Buayaban. Buntugay Altia Bianca D. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alvin Buntugay. Kalipay Maria Socorro S. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Agapito Kalipay. Chavez Kim Blyce R. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Bethovin Chavez. Kumayas Kisa L. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Danilo Kumayas. Daya Angeline B. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Florencio Daya. Fajardo Hilary I. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ranel Fajardo. Gastador Kim R. Parent, Mrs. Delia Gastador. Gigataras Angel Jane H. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. R.G. Gigataras. Gukong Michelle Ann B. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Roy Gukong. Enzo Jasmine M. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Facundo Enzo. Lauron Lableros S. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jose Randy Boy Lauron. Lucido Lairami B. Parent, Mrs. Merlin Lucido. Pipito Ninyami R. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Cesar Pipito. Roa Shina G. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Crisostomo Roa. Citrina Kishami R. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jerome Citrina.
Grade 6, Section Rizal. Advisor, Mrs. Irene R. Chamos.
Candidates for graduation, Grade 6 Rosal Boys, Acruz Christian Jr. N. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Christian Acruz. Arsenal Kent R. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ronaldo Arsenal. Arsenal Kent Dizon D. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Kenneth Arsenal. Brigoli JVG. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Victor Brigoli. Kundi John Ryan A. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Brian Kundi. Deliarty Gisrel J.R.N. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Geoffrey Deliarty. Gastador Rain M. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Martiniano Gastador. Herbisi Carl J. C. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jovel Herbisi. Herbisi Nico C. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Nicolas Herbisi. Manyanita John Dave M. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jomar Manyanita. Mondihar Alven B. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Godofredo Mondihar. Moraldi Jeffrey A. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Restituto Moraldi III. Pipito Johnny Ray L. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Emerito Pipito. Punay Renz N. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Melchor Punay. Rodrigo Vanqueser T. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Joel Rodrigo. Grade 6 Rosal Girls, Abrenica Lenji E. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Julius Abrenica. Arsenal Charlene May M. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Edgar Arsenal. Arsenal Nina Jane A. Parent, Mrs. Ivy May Arsenal. Aspera Jamaica A. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Herbito Aspera. Cantago Samantha Nalia I. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Neil Cantago. Kaubat Sheena Jane T. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Salvador Kaubat. Condes Raisa R. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Chofilo Condes. Disipulo Mary Jane T. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Edwin Disipulo. De Los Santos Lovely Jane M. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Florecito De Los Santos. Isabelia Mariel May P. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rocky Isabelia. Godinez Rofa T. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Eduardo Godinez. Lauron Juan P. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Monito Lauron. Lienes Miracle A. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Philip Lienes. Maloloyon Tessie Marie A. Parent, Mrs. Lizelle Maloloyon. Maluloyon Tracy Suzanne A. Parent, Mrs. Lizelle Maluloyon. Medelio Mary Claire P. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marshall Jr. Medelio. Mendoza Rianovi G. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jose Renante Mendoza. Pipito Angel L. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jonathan Pipito. Rosel Jenaline S. Parent, Mrs. Jenny Rosel. Tunyakaw Nichelle M. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Nichelle Tunyakaw.
Grade 6, Section Tulip. Advisor, Mrs. Marcel Moralde.
Candidates for graduation, Grade 6 Tulip Boys. Jervin J. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Judy Arsenal. Aspera Frances A. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Herbito Aspera. Bugos C.J. A. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ray Jema Barty. Kahutay Jomari S. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dindo Kahutay. De Los Santos Eric V. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ricky De Los Santos. De Los Santos Jed F. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jovi De Los Santos. Garves Darwin M. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dennis Garves. Hinugin Christian C. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Samuel Hinugin. Montana Ronji T. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ronelo Montana. Moraldi Albert B. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Sergio Moraldi. Patalita Arfel A. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Arfel Patalita. Pepito Jason. Parent, Miss Mary Joy Pepito. Punay Steven P. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. J. Punay. Kinain Justin P. Parent, Miss Manilyn Kinain. Good Jandever C. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ramilo Rodrigo. Rosal John Michael B. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Franklin Rosal. Santos Brian Drake M. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Enrique Santos. Susas Alvin J. A. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Nilayan Susas. Bariti Juan A. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Concordio Bariti Jr. Canales Jamaica M. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Edwin Canales. Condi Shiner Rose R. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Arturo Condi. Demoral Renzel and G. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Renier Demoral. Herbisi Jaya Faye M. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Julito Herbisi. Herbisi Hasmin P. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Samson Herbisi. Gipo Jelrose Alia M. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Samuel Gipo. Inso Jelmay A. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Emerito Inso. Lahoy-Lahoy Hannah Jean B. Parent, Miss Marie Chris Lahoy-Lahoy. Moraldi Jalaika P. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Nicolas Moralde. Palier Stephanie A. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ray Palier. Pepito Charmin. Parent, Miss Mary Joy Pipito. Povadora Richen R. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Vivencio Povadora. Reconalia Renly Nietzsche. Parent, Miss Emilia Reconalia. Sonier Charney R. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Nicolas Sonier.
Next is the awarding of medals to deserving honor pupils.
Academic and Non-Academic Excellence Awardees, Grade 6 Hilario. Altia Bianca D. Buntugay, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Albin Buntugay, with high honors. She is also an outstanding performance in English, Service Awardee, Conduct Awardee, First Placer Math Challenge 6 District Level, Second Placer Dance Palabas, Third Placer Slogan Contest District Level. Laramie B. Losido, daughter of Mrs. Marlene Losido, with honors, Conduct Awardee, Service Awardee. Alexa Gail A. Buayaban, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Timoteo Buayaban, with honors. She is also a Service Awardee, Conduct Awardee, Second Placer Dance Palabas. Prince Lawrence A. Conhi, son of Mr. and Mrs. Ermi Conhi, with honors. He is also an outstanding performance in mathematics, a Service Awardee, Conduct Awardee, First Placer Math Challenges District Level, Second Placer Dance Palabas. Kisa L. Cumayas, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Danilo Cumayas, with honors, Service Awardee, Conduct Awardee. James Nathaniel C. Cabanis, son of Mr. and Mrs. Jennifer Cabanis, with honors. He is also a Service Awardee, DSP Awardee, Third Placer Bayani Kalokalike District Level, Second Placer Dance Palabas. Joselito R. De Los Santos Jr., son of Mr. and Mrs. De Los Santos, Service Awardee, Conduct Awardee. Niña Mi R. Pipito, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Pipito, First Placer 800 meter run district level, First Placer 1500 meter run district level. John Vincent R. Alahid, son of Miss Alahid, BSP Awardee. John Kenneth T. Bayo, son of Miss Bayo, Service Awardee, Conduct Awardee. Tim R. Gustador, Service Awardee, Conduct Awardee, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Gustador. Jigayan R. Bugtong, son of Miss Winnie Rafon, second placer dance palabas. Mark Nino de la Fuente, son of Mr. and Mrs. de la Fuente, service awardee, conduct awardee. Maria Socorro Is Kalipay, daughter of Miss Kalipay, service awardee. Alan James R. Rosell, son of Mr. and Mrs. Rosell, service awardee, second placer dance palabas. Laberos S. Laron, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Laron, conduct awardee, service awardee. Kim Glycie R. Chavez, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Chavez, conduct awardee, service awardee. Enrico Clyde V. Dinapo, son of Mr. and Mrs. Dinapo, service awardee. Ishami R. Citrina, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Citrina, conduct awardee, service awardee. John Joel P. Aspera, son of Mr. and Mrs. Aspera, service awardee, conduct awardee. John Ray L. Arsenal, son of Mr. and Mrs. Arsenal, service awardee. Gabriel R. Canyadora, son of Mr. and Mrs. Canyadora, conduct awardee. Hilary I. Fajardo, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Fajardo, conduct awardee. Michelle Ann B. Gokong, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Gokong, conduct awardee, service awardee.
Grade 6 Rosal, Academic and Non-Academic Excellence Awardees.
Mendoza Rianovi G., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Jose Rinanti Mendoza, with honors, outstanding performance and Filipino, a service awardee, conduct awardee, leadership awardee, and a second placer in dance palabas.
Mariel May P. Disabilia, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Rocky Disabilia, with honors, conduct awardee, service awardee. Ken
Arsenal Kent Dison D., son of Mr. and Mrs. Kenneth Arsenal, with honors, service awardee, conduct awardee, and a second placer in dance palabas. De Los Santos Lovely Jane M., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Florecito de los Santos, with honors, service awardee, conduct awardee, and a second placer in dance palabas. Cantago Samantha Nalia I., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Nel Cantago, with honors, service awardee, conduct awardee, and a second placer in dance palabas.
Nico C. Herbisi, son of Mr. and Mrs. Nicolas Herbisi, with honors, conduct awardee, service awardee.
Kundis Raisa R., daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Chofelo Condes, with honors, service awardee, conduct awardee, and first placer in vocal solo district level.
Christian N. Acros, son of Mr. and Mrs. Acros, service awardee. Jezreel J.R.N. Deliarte, son of Mr. and Mrs. Deliarte, service awardee.
Manyanita John Dave M., son of Mr. and Mrs. Jomar Manyanita, service awardee, conduct awardee, and second placer in dance palabas.
Jeff Rigi A. Moraldi, son of Mr. and Mrs. Moraldi, service awardee. Sheena Jane T. Kaubat, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Kaubat, Service Awardee, Conduct Awardee. Mary Claire P. Medelio, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Medelio, Service Awardee, Conduct Awardee. Gina Len S. Rosel, daughter of Miss Rosel, Service Awardee, Conduct Awardee.
Academic and non-academic awardees, grade 6 tulip. Jamaica M. Canales, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Edwin Canales, with high honors. She is also an outstanding performer in science, Service Awardee, Conduct Awardee, and a second placer dance palabas. Renzel Ann G. Demoral, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Renier Demoral, with honors. She is also an outstanding performer in MAPI, Conduct Awardee, Service Awardee, and a second placer dance palabas. JFA Herbisi, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Jolito Herbisi, with honors. She is also a Service Awardee and a Conduct Awardee. Jill Rose Alia Gipo, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Samuel Gipo, with honors. She is also a Conduct Awardee and a Service Awardee. Hannah Jean Lahoy Lahoy, daughter of Miss Marie Chris Lahoy Lahoy, with honors. She is also a Conduct Awardee and a Service Awardee. Jelaika Moraldi, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Nicholas Moraldi, with honors. She is also a Service Awardee and a Conduct Awardee. Ranley Mitch Reconalia, daughter of Miss Emily Reconalia, with honors. She is also an outstanding performer in math, Service Awardee, Conduct Awardee, second placer dance palabas, and first placer math challenge 6 district level. John Michael Russell, son of Mr. and Mrs. Franklin Russell, a Service Awardee. Stephen Punay, son of Mr. and Mrs. J. Punay, a Service Awardee. Ron G. Montana, son of Mr. and Mrs. Ronelo Montana, a Service Awardee. Jed De Los Santos, son of Mr. and Mrs. Jovi De Los Santos, a Service Awardee. Eric De Los Santos, son of Mr. and Mrs. Ricky De Los Santos, a Service Awardee. Jervin Arsenal, son of Mr. and Mrs. Judy Arsenal, a Service Awardee. Jomari Kahutay, son of Mr. and Mrs. Dindo Kahutay. He is a Conduct Awardee and a Service Awardee. Juan Bariti, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Concordio Bariti Jr. She is a Service Awardee and a Conduct Awardee. Hasmin Herbisi, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Samson Herbisi. She is a Conduct Awardee and a Service Awardee. Richin Povadora, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Luvencio Povadora, Service Awardee and a Conduct Awardee.
This time, let us read the graduation message of Secretary of the Department of Education, Secretary Yunor Magpolis Briones.
Sa ngalan ng Department of Education, ang ating mga opisyales, members ng Executive Committee, members ng MANCOM, ang Management Committee, saan naroroon ang mga regional directors at mga superintendents, mga supervisors, ating mga central office directors, At pinaka-importante, mga principals, sa mga teachers, kami lahat ay tuwang-tuwa na natapos na rin ninyo ang mga pangangailangan para magiging considered na kayo na graduates of class 2020. Kayo ay isa-isa kong kino-congratulate. Sayang hindi ko naman kayo pwedeng maka-shake hands o pwedeng mangitian ng personal, pero yung ating magandang asal, yung ating magandang pagtingin sa isa't isa sa inyo, nandoon pa rin. At saka tuwan-tuwa kami talaga, lalo na ako. Para sa akin, ang graduation ay isa sa pinaka-masigla, pinaka-masaya na okasyon sa buhay ng isang learner o isang estudyante. Pero pinakamasaya din yan para sa teacher. Pinakamasaya yan sa lahat na administrators dahil mayroon na namang graduating class na nakakatapos. Kayo ay very special. Special kayo sa parents ninyo. Special kayo sa mga friends, sa mga teachers ninyo, sa community. Special na special kayo, each and every one of you. But you are also special in a different way because you are graduating at the time of COVID-19. Siguro, pag magiging ganap na kayong citizen ng Pilipinas o lumaki na kayo, tumanda na kayo, sasabihin ninyo, ako ay nag-graduate sa panahon ng coronavirus. Ang pag-graduate ninyo ngayon ay ibang-iba sa pag-graduate ng mga nakauna sa inyo or maybe sa susunod sa inyo. Dahil ito ngayon ay panahon ng coronavirus, so mga adjustments ang ginagawa natin. Hindi pwede tayong magtipon-tipon, hindi pwedeng magkita-kita kayo ng mga parents ng classmates ninyo, mga barkada, mga yaya, lolo, lola, at mga parents and teachers. Hindi pwedeng mag-ipon-ipon kayo sa isang lugar at this time. Pero marami namang ibang paraan na kayo ay babatiin at para ma-celebrate ninyo itong special na occasion na ito. Ang iba sa inyo ay magkaroon ng virtual graduation tulad ng sa Davao. Congratulations sa inyo. Ang iba naman siguro maghintay kung mayroon ng mas friendlier environment, mas friendlier circumstances. At saka, hindi lang ito nangyari sa panahong ito dahil sa COVID. May mga karanasan din ang DepEd. May karanasan din ang ating mga universidad kung saan napopostpone, napagpaliban ang graduation. Sa panahon ng mga lola at lolo ninyo, napagpaliban ang graduation dahil yung panahon yun ng gera. At saka mayroon talagang tunay na kalaban na nagdi-disrupt ng ating mga activities. So at that time, yung mga estudyante, hindi sila nakagraduate. Mayroon namang instance na mayroong malaking mga disasters, kaya napopostpone din ang graduation. Kagaya nung nangyari minsan sa UP, dahil napakatindi yung bagyo na tumama sa Manila, sa Central Luzon at saka ibang bahagi ng Luzon, at ang UP hindi nakapagpatuloy sa kanyang graduation. So, ang nangyari, next na lang ng registrar ang mga estudyante na ikaw ay graduado na. Dadating din ang panahon siguro kung kagustuhan ng inyong mga parents o kagustuhan ng inyong mga teachers or administrators na magkaroon din kayo ng graduation tulad ng dati. Pero ang importante ay kayo ay graduado na. Kayo ay pumasa. Kayo ay dumanas sa mahirap na pamamaraan, mga examen, mga ratings, na grado na binigay ng mga teachers ninyo para kayo makonsider talaga na graduate. Ano kaya ang payo na maibigay ko sa inyo sa panahong ito ng COVID-19? Kasi kaiba nga ang sitwasyon ninyo ngayon. Para sa mga elementary school students na mag-move up to junior high school, ibang-iba na ang mapuntahan ninyo sa high school. Hindi na yung araw-araw gigisingin kayo, magdala kayo ng baon, at saka makikita ninyo teachers ninyo, at saka yung mga libro, mahahawakan ninyo, mahihipo ninyo. Iba na ang pamamaraan dahil ang gagamitin ICT, gagamitin yung mga learning platforms kagaya ng DepEd Commons, ang gagamitin ay ang mga computer, ang tablet, telebisyon, at saka radyo para matuto kayo. Depende kung anong sitwasyon sa inyong lugar. Para naman sa junior high school na pupunta sa senior high school, baka matuwa kayo kasi nung na-introduce ang senior high school, maraming mga komentaryo, feedback galing sa parents ninyo, galing sa mga eksperto, na sobrang dami yung subjects. Ngayon, na-reduce na natin yung subjects, lalo na sa senior high school, at saka sa iba't ibang baitang, no? So, sa junior high school kayong nag-step up na, ang magiging subjects ninyo sa senior high school, sobrang konti kaysa dati. Pero hindi ibig sabihin na konti lang ang malalaman ninyo. Kasi karamihang malalaman din ninyo, marami kayong matutunan sa bahay ninyo, sa pag-aaral ninyo sa learning platforms, at saka sa tulong ng inyong mga magulang, sa inyong lolo at lola, inyong mga mentors sa bahay at saka sa inyong mga, yung sinasabi kong mga tahanan ninyo. So, lesser ang learning competencies para sa senior high school at saka sa ibang grado, pero siguro mas malalim ang matutunan ninyo. Kasi ang pangangailangan ngayon, ma-elementary ka, ma-junior high school ka, o magiging senior high school ka, napapasok na sa universidad, ang pinaka-importante ay yung sinasabi sa batas na critical thinking. Kung may mga problema, kung may mga challenges, kailangang matuto tayo na ito ay ma-analyze, mapag-isipan ng rational, yung sinasabi ko natin, ginagamit ang logic, ginagamit ang analysis, kailangan yung collaboration, makipagtulungan ka sa mga classmates mo, sa parents mo, kailangan ng communication, hindi pwede na ikaw lang mag-isa mag-aaral, magko-communicate ka palagi, but siguro yung sinasabi natin na virtual. Pero ang importante para sa akin, wala yan sa batas, wala yan sa mga libro siguro. Ang importante para sa inyo, sa junior high na magiging senior, sa senior na magiging university, o pupunta sa mga vocational training na nagugustuhan ninyo, ang magiging courageous, magiging brave. Huwag kayong matakot dahil ang mundo na pinupuntahan ninyo ay ibang-iba sa nasanayan ninyo. Hindi naman kayo pababayaan ng inyong mga school, hindi kayo pababayaan ng mga teachers, hindi naman kayo pababayaan ng ating government na nagbibigay sa atin ng mga paaralan galing sa buwis ng ating mga magulang, at hindi naman kayo pababayaan ng mga magulang ninyo. Hindi kayo nag-iisa. Kaya huwag kayong matakot dahil maraming mga bagong bagay na ituturo sa inyo. Maraming bagong tinatawag nila na challenges na haharapin ninyo, pero hindi nakakatakot. Dapat ma-excited kayo dahil iba na ang inyong pag-aralan, iba ng pamamaraan sa pag-aaral, at saka siguro maging mas mabuti kayong citizen kaysa aming mga lola, lolo, at mami, daddy ninyo ngayon. So, once again, congratulations para sa mag-aakyat from elementary hanggang magpunta na sila sa junior high school. Yung galing sa junior high school na magpupunta sa senior high school, at ang senior high school na pupunta na sa vocational, mag-specialized training o magtrabaho o pupunta sa universidad. Congratulations to each and every one of you. It's a new world that you are facing. Siguro, some of you, hindi ako sigurado sa mga elementary students, pero sa mga junior high at saka sa senior high, alam niyo yung pelikula ni Aladdin. Si Aladdin, mayroong magic rug, di ba? Sumasakay sila, naglilipad sila kasama si Princess Yasmin. At saka ang kinakanta nila, a whole new world. You're now leaving your school, you're entering a whole new world, but do not be afraid because you will not be alone. Your teachers will always be with you. Your government will always see to it that you will be educated. Your family will be with you. And most important, God will be with you. So God be with you. Do not be afraid. These are wonderful times. Congratulations sa isa't isa sa inyong lahat. Thank you.
At this time, let us hear the words of triumph, victory, and gratitude from with high honors, Jamaica Canales.
Honored guests, parents, friends, schoolmates, my dear co-graduates, teachers, staff, school administrator, headed by Dr. Eva A. Casinelio, our district supervisor, and of course, to our beloved principal, Mrs. Adelna D. Mata. Ladies and gentlemen, a very pleasant day to all of us. Today is a memorable day for all of us because we have just ended an episode in our lives, the elementary school life. Now, we are about to start a new chapter of our journey, the high school life. Dr. Jose Rizal once said, "The youth is the hope of the motherland." We studied in Tominjao Elementary School so we could be equipped with adequate knowledge and skills in preparation for important roles we had to play in society. Some dreamed most especially to turn into reality the prophecy of our national hero that we, indeed, can be the hope of our beloved country, the Philippines. Now, we are facing a big circumstances, not only here in our country, but also in the whole world, which is COVID-19 pandemic. My dear co-graduates, even though our graduation is not the same way of traditional ceremony, I'm still very thankful that we have a virtual graduation. This pandemic is not a hindrance to stop learning and to continue our studies. Everything in this world has a beginning. In our case, we have just accomplished the beginning. We have started the first right move. Hence, there is no reason why we should fail in our future undertakings. My dear teachers, parents, friends, and co-graduates, as of now, please keep safe at home, always pray and believe in our Almighty God. God bless us all.
To lead the class in their pledge of loyalty, please welcome, with honors, Renzo Ann de Moral.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. Imbued with the spirit of love and loyalty to Tominjao Elementary School, our alma mater, we, the 2019-2020 graduates, having received our certificate of graduation, do hereby pledge to do our best to live up to the fullest satisfaction of our parents. We further pledge to honor her by pursuing higher studies and preparing ourselves to live in the community and lead a frugal life, obey the laws, and become a worthy citizens of our country. So, help us God.
Music is human fuel. To feel it washing over us in person, like the voltage that frees us from the concepts of restraints, or walls, or time. It's not a form of escapism, but rather a route inward. It is primal, inspiring, raw. Music is art. It is the divine way to tell beautiful, poetic things to the heart. Ladies and gentlemen, let us hear the graduation song of Batch 2020, entitled A Million Dreams.
I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. There's a house we can build. Every room inside is filled with things from far away. The special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. I don't care if they call us crazy. Run away to a world that we design. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. However big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong, but say that you'll bring me along to the world you see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes.
I hope your dreams take you to the corners of your smiles, to the highest of your hopes, to the windows of your opportunities, and to the most special places your heart has ever known. In behalf of the school's administrative staff and faculty, we joyfully congratulate the graduates, their parents, and advisors. This is your host, Antoinette May Caballes, saying, stay safe, stay home, and God bless everyone.